You know, a lot of fans, a lot of media in the Maritimes were following the IHL pretty heavily in the late 80s, early 90s, because a lot of our top pros were getting a second chance towards the NHL or the AHL of that association, or the legends of the league were so vibrant in our minds, we could not look away. Now, Andrew Lippert has been a great supporter of the channel, and he asked me recently to do a podcast on probably one of the most interesting franchises never to finish a season in the IHL. We have to be talking about the Albany Choppers. Now, I want you to look at the logo for the team. Does that sound like Choppers? You know, when your logo is incorrectly graphically laid out, you could have brought the stick down lower to do the word choppers more effectively. Anyway, that wasn't a big problem in the season. Money was a problem. Now, the Albany Choppers were an independent professional ice hockey team based in the beautiful community of Albany, New York, again competing in the IHL. Now, the Fort Wayne Comets, we've talked about them before, have been mainstays of the IHL for 4 decades. Now, before the 91 season, its owner, gravel magnate David Welker, opted to move the franchise to Albany. The city had recently built Knickerbocker Arena, which was built to a National Hockey League standards of the time, which would be in a 14,000-seat range. They represent the IHL's first effort in years to push beyond its traditional heartland in the Great Lakes. They were the easternmost team in the IHL since the Johnstown Jets left the league some 36 years before. The Schenectady-based Price Chopper supermarket chain, which their colors were in the logo, became a minority partner, hence the name and colors of red, white, and blue, which again match Price Chopper's corporate image. Now, Price Chopper in Canada is not the same company, but look at the logo. That's not Price Choppers, that's Price Choppers. Anyway, neither here nor there. Last we'll talk about it. Now, among the key players for the Choppers were goaltender Rick Knickel, former St. Louis Blue Bruce Racine, and former Boston Bruin John Blue. Now, former New York Islander team captain Dale Henry was also there, as was former star Dave Richter, and of course Barry Lemieux's talented brother, center Alain Lemieux, who was the team's leading scorer until he was traded for cash. Now, a large number of players were ex-Springfield Indians, including Henry, Lemieux, forwards Stu Burney, Bob Bodak, and Jim Migaud, and defensemen Vern Smith, Manny Viveros, and Gord Paddock. Now, Dave Allison served as the team's head coach. Now, the team began playing in the 91 season but ran into several major roadblocks. By this time, the IHL had firmly established itself as a top-level feeder league for the NHL. The entrenched AHL franchise was unnerved by the IHL's expansion into its traditional stronghold in the Northeast and hastily planned a team just across the Hudson River in neighboring Troy, the Capital District Islanders. Moreover, the three-time Calder Cup champion Adirondack Red Wings were left less than 50 minutes north in Glens Falls. Never in recent history had so many minor league teams been crammed into such a small market. It did not help matters that the perennial college hockey powerhouse RPI Engineers also played in Troy. Now, all three suffered at the gate through the subsequent price wars, although RPI benefited from having the Capital District Islanders as a tenant. Now, however, the Choppers suffered the most. Not only were they essentially an expansion team, they also had to foot the travel expenses for 6 IHL teams as a condition of being allowed to move to Albany. They were unable to secure a full NHL affiliation and subsidized salaries, and he had to settle for a secondary affiliation with the Canucks, and they only had 11 players with NHL contracts. Now, the team sank quickly into last place, and attendance plummeted. For numerous games, attendance in the cavernous Nick, which had a capacity of 15,000, was no more than a few hundred fans. No joke. Cavernous. Now, after local media reported attendance figures at odds with the ones managers were reporting, by quite literally counting heads, the team ceased to report attendance altogether while giving season tickets away outright. Now, there was a local report they had went to a local grade school to give out tickets, but they were not allowed on the property because, allegedly, the principal had never heard of the team and thought it was a joke. I don't know if there's any paper trail on that. Maybe Andrew can tell us. Now, as it was, the team hemorrhaged funds, which will happen, held back by the most expensive travel budget in the IHL and a lack of natural rivalries. Their nearest opponent was the new Comets. Welker's franchise had been replaced by the relocated Flint Spirits team, which took the Comets' name in history, some 670 miles west. At one point, the team struggled to meet payroll, missing it several times, and supplies ran short from sticks, pucks, tape, you name it. Now, one notorious incident came during an overtime game against the Comets when McGo was sent out for the final shot in a shootout because he had the only sound hockey stick remaining on the bench. Now, by December, the Choppers were gasping. Their assets had been frozen when a travel agency sued him for non-payment, and he lost their radio flagship due to 3 months of unpaid bills. Out of desperation, Allison put all of the players who did not have NHL contracts on waivers. The Milwaukee Admirals claimed Henry, forcing the Choppers to trade Lemieux to the Admirals to get Henry back. However, it was understood that Lemieux would return to Albany if Welker found a buyer for the team. The end came in February, when Price Chopper announced he was pulling his sponsorship and his investment after the season, citing a poor relationship with Welker and lackluster promotion. By Valentine's Day, the Choppers were so short of cash they were not only about to miss payroll again, but lacked enough money for the next road trip. Even though they won 6 of their last 9 games and were in contention for a playoff berth, there was no credible buyers were on the horizon. Now, Welker finally gave up and shuttered the team that night. Now, the Capital District Islanders promptly honored all Choppers season tickets in an attempt to boost their own attendance. Somewhat ironically, Henry Knickel and Viveros finished the season back in Springfield, where he helped the Indians in their final Calder Cup championship, while leading goal scorer Yves Haru would move to Peoria and prove key in the Rivermen's own Turner Cup title in that same season against the Comets, the team with whom Bernie signed. Now, Lemieux, Bernie, and Richter retired after the season. I would retire too because mentally it must have been terrible. Now, defenseman Scott Drevich was the final Chopper active in professional hockey, playing for the Elmira Jackals of the UHL in the 2006-2007 season. Now, for a lot of us in the media, we never really thought that the Choppers was a good idea, but they had some good players. They were comparable to a lower-end UHL or USHL or even a lower-end AHL without affiliation. But my God, ladies and gentlemen, to run a sporting team in New York State, that's the highest travel, even in the 90s. It were probably costing them, what, $50,000 a month for travel if it was on the low end, and maybe $250,000 at the high end. How in the heck, they needed probably $3 million to finish the season. If you're already getting 500 fans, the security guards and the workers at the rink would outnumber the fans. But like I said, Albany, New York has always supported hockey in different ways than one. Supported their hometown heroes. But the thing is, I hope you take this the right way, if you can't make it in Albany, you can't make it in hockey or baseball or minor pro or whatever. Albany is a hotbed of good fans. Andrew can tell you that. Some good people around there. They wanted to support the Choppers. But again, let's look at the logo, ladies and gentlemen. It was totally perfect. But, come on. I'm a graphic artist. You know it's bad luck when your logo looks exactly incorrect all the time. Just bring the stick down a little bit. That's all he had to do. Or just cut the top of the stick off. Anyway, yeah, I was only 7 years as a journalist and graphic artist at the time. I couldn't be hired because I don't think there are many seven-year experienced Canadians who redo logos for nearly defunct IHL teams. So that's the sad story, but yet the very interesting story of the Albany Choppers. Andrew, thanks again. If you have any requests, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And don't forget, like I said, if you can't make it in Albany, you can't make it any place. They love their sports down there. Have a good day. Bye.